Are you in your 20s wondering how you're going to set yourself up for your future? In this video, we're going to talk about 10 different purchases to make in your 20s to set yourself up so you'll never have to worry another day in your life.
Sounds nice.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
All right, coming in with number one, and it may be a bit of a cliche answer, but we did want to include it, is investing in yourself in education, networking. Now, they'll still all throw the stats out there of how college graduates make more than high school graduates over time, and while that is true, maybe college isn't really your thing. There are other ways you can invest in yourself. Just finding what works best for you and what your aspirations are is really the way to go here. Whether that is through networking. I mean, we've learned a ton in the real estate and investing space through networking, because our school, I mean, we're both engineers, but they didn't teach us anything about real estate and investing. How we learned about that was through networking and doing our own research. So there's all these different types of ways to educate yourself.
Right, and we are huge research people, both of us. We research different topics all the time that we're interested in, that we just feel like we need to know. However, you can only research so far before it comes into experience. You just have to have experience.
Yeah.
And if you can't gain the experience just because you're not there yet, you haven't bought a property, whatever it is, you can talk to people with experience.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a hybrid of the research and the experience. You can take other people's mistakes and take them as your own. You can learn from their mistakes. You can learn from what they've done right. And that is a form of gaining experience, but learning from someone else's experience. Just from networking, if someone offered a job because they like them or they knew them and they didn't even know they were looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so you never know what will happen.
And maybe you don't tell your parents that one, because I feel like all of us have had the talk with our dads of, well, maybe you should just go up there in person with your resume and talk to the guy. That's not how it's done anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
You're nervous. You don't want to.
Yeah. So maybe there's some truth to that, who knows? But either way, networking is a great avenue to explore.
Yeah.
And just educating yourself, whether that is through college. I mean, we both did college. We're not disqualifying college at all. But just finding what works best for you, very important.
Yeah, books, podcasts, there's many avenues. YouTube, thanks for watching. There's always so many different avenues that are growing and getting more popular that any way you can educate yourself is very important, and we always will harp on that. All right, number two, I'll say it one way and then a different way, but owning companies, or AKA investing in your retirement. So having a 401k with your company, having an IRA on your own, your individual retirement account, this is going to be important to set yourself up for the future and retirement. Yeah. And the earlier you can start, the better. That's why we put it in this video for your 20s. Mm-hmm. If you put it a little bit amount into your account, starting earlier, it's less stress. You could put in $20 when you're 20, and then you're going to be well better off than someone that put in $40 when they're 30. Yeah. Even though they started and they put in more, you started sooner, and compound interest had more time to do its thing. So just know, if you start sooner, even if it's a smaller amount, it can help you tremendously.
Yeah. So obviously 401k, that's free money a lot of times because companies offer match.
Yeah, the match.
Take advantage of that. And of course, a Roth IRA, oftentimes when you're in your 20s, is the way a lot of people go. Now, of course, this isn't professional advice. Do your own research on what works best for you. We both have Roth IRAs because we found that it works best for us.
And 401ks.
Yeah, true. We are
double dipping.
Yeah, doubling down on this. So find out what works best for you. And like Ryan said, the power of compounding is truly like the eighth wonder of the world.
Another one that's kind of boring, but we talk about it all the time on this channel, is number three, an emergency fund. We just think an emergency fund is so important. Again, kind of boring, but putting that money, yeah, exactly, absolutely necessary, because it's not about if you'll have an emergency or if you'll have a situation you get into, it's when. Yeah. It absolutely is. And if you don't have an emergency fund, it's way more of an emergency and way more stress than if you do. So just set aside, depending on where you are in your life, 3 to 6 months of your expenses, and that's it.
Yeah, because to Ryan's point, nearly 40% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a $400 emergency. So imagine if you get laid off from work and you got all these months of expenses to cover. I mean, it really is a double emergency at that point because you are just not prepared for it at all. All right, and the next one, again, kind of just practical, maybe not the exciting thing you were looking for, but is a good health insurance plan. Yeah. Whether that's through your company with a good plan that covers you and your family or something like that, or maybe you're looking at it from a more investment standpoint and you go the route of an HSA through your company or something like that. Yeah, that's what we're both doing. Again, just because we're doing it doesn't mean we're saying you should do it. But there are different avenues you can kind of explore here because, I mean, medical expenses, when they hit, are crazy. I mean, they can really, really mess you up. I mean, there's nothing worse than going to the hospital, feeling bad, than getting home, getting the bill, and feeling it even worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
double whammy.
Yeah, it can really beat you when you're down. So having something to help cover those large expenses that can show up can be very beneficial. It takes a lot of the stress away, just like that emergency fund. And an HSA also, keeps it as a bit of an investment there for you.
tell me you're from the United States without telling me you're from the United States, stressing that much about medical expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely set yourself up. If you're an individual, maybe, and you don't get sick, maybe do a high deductible plan so you can do an HSA.
Yeah.
If you have a family and one of the people in the family is often sick,
Yeah.
maybe don't go that route because you'll end up paying out of pocket a lot. So just know your situation and have a health insurance plan because, again, kind of like the emergency fund, things will happen.
Yeah.
You just got to be prepared for them.
All right, number 5. This one is a bit more exciting. Something we're both more excited about is real estate. Now, we think this is a great way to build wealth, generational wealth at that. So, real estate, while it may be a bit more of a daunting thing, like, ooh, real estate, I mean, there are a bunch of ways that you can get involved in real estate, whether that's actually owning and renting properties or just buying something as simple as a REIT and kind of getting your feet wet in the real estate game. It can be exciting in multiple ways. I mean, there are countless ways to make money in real estate.
Absolutely. And real estate, don't come at us because real estate is the most expensive thing. It's the least affordable, and we get it. We are right there with you. It's not like we're billionaires. We're buying all this real estate. We're right there with you. So check out our previous videos. We talked about different ways to make money in real estate. We talked about Taylor just bought his first house not too long ago.
Yeah.
We talk about many different things in real estate and ways you can see if you like that avenue.
Yeah,
I personally
save money
love it
too.
because it's like a puzzle. How
Yeah.
can you make money in real estate? There's so many different ways. What works best for you works best for someone else. So many people in that space, so many new people you can meet. And it's something that we all have to deal with. We all need shelter. So
Yeah.
it's interesting in that fact. So
Yeah.
definitely let us know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. And if it's feasible, maybe something to look into.
Yeah.
And number 6, buying low-cost index funds and ETFs. These are going to be something that tracks the S&P 500. These are going to be something that tracks maybe a specific niche, if that's what you like, that are going to have a low cost. You want to look for very low expense ratios. Basically, not to overcomplicate it, but just something you can buy, keep buying, hold forever, not have to worry about it. So if you track the S&P 500 and the 500th company it owns drops out and they pick up a new one, it automatically is cycling that in. The expenses are low because the actual person doesn't actually have to do all of that. It's just automated. And you can just let it sit and do its thing. You don't have to worry about, will Apple keep going for another 100 years? You just put your money in and keep putting your money in, never take it out, and watch it grow.
Yeah. Getting in the stock market, I mean, first putting your money in and seeing it grow, even by a little bit, maybe you receive your first dividend. That's an exciting thing, whether the dividend's just that couple cents you get, which is what a lot of people deal with.
Every quarter.
Yeah, that's what we were dealing with when we first started getting involved. But it's still exciting. So, it's something to get excited about, something to look into. Maybe it works for you. Maybe you have a natural tack for it and, you got some great plays and, suddenly your money's doubled in the stock market. That is something that can happen. Now, it's not something to bank on.
Yeah.
The stock market is a very volatile place. But like Ryan was saying, index funds and ETFs can really help mitigate that. And it's more of that hands-off approach. All right. And number 7 is a quality professional wardrobe. Now, I know some of you may like, do I really need a suit? You kind of need to dress for success, dress for the job you want, not the one you have. It's a bit of a cliche saying and everything, but it is true to an extent. So we're not saying go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a brand new tux or anything. But, investing a little bit of money into your wardrobe for those more professional settings or networking events where it'll be a bit of a higher class thing.
Yeah.
It's never a bad idea. You want to put your best foot forward, and whether it's correct or anything, the reality is people judge a lot of people based on what they first see. So being able to put yourself forward in the best light is always beneficial. It really helps with networking and things like that.
Yeah, first impressions are kind of everything. Oftentimes people form judgments within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone. So if that's your first impression, that's what they know you as. That's all you are, is that first 7 seconds, and that's how they remember you. So one of the things I do often if I'm in a interview or I'm going for an interview is I wear a suit.
Yeah,
it might be an old way to do it, but you don't know how many people have said to me in an interview, even if I don't accept the job or I don't get offered the job, you know what, like that was our first impression, clean cut, very nice professional person that they're going to assume is hardworking. And they nobody does that anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody wears maybe a collared shirt. Some people even just wear a t-shirt. And they're like, that sets you apart, but in a great way because they're going just off that look. And they're like, again, very clean cut professional. I haven't said or done anything. I could be an idiot. And all they know is I'm hardworking or they're thinking all these things because I look the part.
Yeah. And notice we didn't say expensive professional wardrobe. We said quality.
Yeah.
There are a lot of places that you can find cheaper, affordable clothing. So before you disqualify yourself, I can't afford a suit or I can't afford a dress or whatever it may be. There are other places you can look, like thrift stores and things. Sometimes they have great stuff, or secondhand shops. You can find discounts in certain areas. So don't completely disqualify yourself. It's more quality because, we all know those people that buy the designer and it looks terrible versus someone who actually knows how to dress. They're like, oh, this whole outfit's like $20. You're like, wow, that's crazy impressive. So there are those options out there, guys.
And we've talked about this in different videos, but it's such an important one, especially in your 20s. A lot of people are graduating college, getting excited for that first big paycheck.
Yeah.
Oh, we're rich now. We get big money. We're excited. And they go buy themselves a car. Don't buy yourselves a car. All of a sudden, now
Not a
that
new
you got-
car.
yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, now that you've gotten a big paycheck, your car doesn't work well anymore. No, just stop doing that. So many people, so many of my friends have done that. You don't need a new car.
Yeah.
Buy a reliable car. That's the most important thing. A reliable. It doesn't have to be cheap. It doesn't have to be brand new. It just has to be reliable.
Yeah.
And that's so important. You're looking at your Toyotas. You're looking at your Hondas, your Lexus, maybe your Mazdas. All of those things like that. My first car was a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
And
Classic.
you could drive those hundreds of thousand miles. You just want a cheap, in terms of maintenance heavy, you want a very cheap maintenance-wise car that will last a long time. So that's a very, keep your costs low in the transportation side. So it's not an investment. It's not an asset. It's a liability. It just hurts you.
I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find something that depreciates quicker than a new car.
Oh my gosh.
The second you drive it off the lot, if you turn around and be like, I actually don't want it, good luck trying to get your full refund. I mean, you'll be there for hours haggling and arguing and everything. So number 9, guys, is travel. We don't want you to burn out and be worrying about, oh, I got to buy this and that and this. Is, getting in this finance space and everything can be a little bit stressful. Spend a little money on yourself. We're not saying go crazy and spend 6 months in Europe, quit your job and all this stuff. Now,
where are we?
if it's something you can afford, hey, and you're looking at the numbers like, oh, well, I don't have any debt. I've been investing smart. I got my emergency fund set aside. And remember, guys, the emergency fund isn't to fund a sudden vacation that pops up. It's for emergencies. Yeah. So if you got some extra savings beyond that and you can afford a trip, then by all means. You don't want to burn out and you don't want to stop enjoying life, because in your 20s is probably when you want to enjoy it the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Chances are that life will only get busier and more hectic later on down the line.
Responsibility.
Yeah, and things come up and, certain things limit your ability to travel as you get older. So enjoy this time.
Yeah, and it's a very tough balance from, I want to prepare for my future, I want to save, I want to invest, and enjoying the time while you have it now. So you never know. Tomorrow is not promised, but if you're not prepared and tomorrow comes, you could be in trouble. So it's that tough balance you got to have. And don't worry, I struggle with that constantly. Should I just keep investing more and more and more, or do I need to set aside for travel and enjoy our time? Travel is something we harp on, we want to do, but I don't want to wait till I retire and then I'm like, I'm too old to climb the steps. I'm too old to go see this. I can't make it. I can't go snorkeling anymore, whatever.
Yeah. That's when the wife can come and tell you, we should do this.
Yeah.
Stop talking about real estate. Let's go somewhere.
It's usually that very nice reminder that we need to plan for our travel times.
Yeah.
All right, number 10 is self-care and mental health. This is something that you really have to prioritize to avoid that burnout, like Taylor just mentioned.
Yeah.
Because if you're only working or only investing and you're only delayed gratification, just pushing everything back, you're going to get burnt out. You're not seeing any reward. You're not seeing any progress, and it really makes it hard. So sometimes you have to find a hobby, maybe not expensive. Maybe you just enjoy trying foods and you try, I don't know, Waffle House. You try different foods like that.
Yeah, yoga in the backyard. Do
yoga. You go on hikes. You can't find a hobby that really relieves that stress. Exercise, reading, anything like that. And you got to have a stress reliever and something that not only relieves stress, but just distracts you. Just gets you into a different set of mind. Some people like to journal. Some people like to meditate, whatever it is. And just make it where you're in a different realm. You're in a different world and you're not thinking about investing. You're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about any of those things that add stress and just takes it off.
So do remember, guys, a lot of the decisions you make in your 20s and 30s are setting you up for your financial future and your future success. But don't get too stressed about it. I know that may be a little bit of a counterintuitive right there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, enjoy yourself. Make sure that your mental health is still there. Travel a little bit. Enjoy life still. But do realize that a lot of the decisions you make now do have a lasting impact. So you need to set yourself up for the future and make smart investments early.
Again, it's about balance.
Yeah.
Try and prioritize one thing and you lose this thing. You try and prioritize the other, you go too far. It's about balance. It's a balancing act. It's very difficult. Nobody's perfect at it, to be honest. So take that stress of trying to be perfect out of the equation and just try. Just work at it and keep adjusting, keep pivoting every day. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, this type of content. We can make many more of these and we can go into detail with each one, but we want to keep it shorter for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed and stuck to the end. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and stay tuned for our video next Sunday.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
Sum that up nicely.
We ramble on a couple of these a little.
Absolutely. But if You ask me. That's what the people come for. Is us rambling.
Oh, is it? I've been cutting that stuff out. Maybe that's why our views are down.